On this episode of MythBusters, it's a crimes and myth-demeanors special.
Look at that.
As the team puts the latest security alarms to the test.
It works.
Tori gets down and dirty to try to fool an alarm triggered by temperature.
Oh, yeah.
Adam and Jamie attempt to foil a fingerprint scanner.
Yay!
Then Carrie turns chicken
Don't try what you're about to see at home.
to silence an alarm sensitive to sound. Finally, Jamie and Adam replicate a crime movie myth. Can water really be used to break into a safe?
2, 1.
Who are the MythBusters? Adam Savage
Ants are all over my head, man.
and Jamie Heineman.
Gets me all worked up just looking at it.
Between them, more than 30 years of special effects experience.
That was heavy.
Joining them, Grant Imahara,
Go get him, boy.
Tori Belleci,
Whoa.
and Carrie Byron.
That was crazy!
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test.
Crimes and myth-demeanors? What have we got there?
Well, you remember a while back we actually did a whole bunch of myths associated with the crimes perpetrated in movies?
Oh yeah, even I got excited about that one.
Yeah, actually, that was one of my favorite myths ever.
Mine too. In Great Hollywood Heists, the team constructed a course that it then armed with Hollywood-style security devices. From getting around laser beams and picking open a safe
Got it.
Yay!
to climbing an air duct. No heist whodunit was left untouched.
So what, are we doing more of that?
Not exactly. Last time we were testing to see if we could beat some mythical, like movie-style alarm systems. This time we're going to try some real-world alarm systems and see if we can beat those.
And those systems are going to be an ultrasonic motion detector, a thermal alarm, and a fingerprint door lock. And we're going to install them in the original assault course.
Great.
That sounds cool.
Wait, that's not all. This time we're going to have you blow up a safe without destroying what's inside.
Well, let's get cracking.
Let's get cracking.
Sure. What?
So the team has got 3 new alarm systems to overcome before a safe filled with water gets blown apart. But first up, it's time to point the finger at Grant, who's turned locksmith. He's removing the regular door lock and switching it for something much more sophisticated, a fingerprint scanner.
Fingerprint lock is an optical sensor, and what it does is it reads the pattern of your fingerprint, and if it matches the one that it has in its memory, it will allow you then to turn the handle and open the door. It works!
Because all of us have different fingerprints, this lock, which scans human thumbprints, can be tailor-made to only open to one person, which for this test is Grant.
Here's how it works. So you hit pound, pound. Okay.
Wow.
Why don't you try it?
Pound, pound.
Jamie gives the finger, but stays shut out. It's Grant's way or the highway.
I have the master fingerprint.
The master fingerprint.
Aren't you special?
If their specialty is breaking and entering, Adam and Jamie must first covertly obtain a copy of Grant's thumbprint and then convert it into something that will open the door. Any initial thoughts, anyone? Anyone? It's not looking promising. And then Jamie plucks out one of his more surreal ideas.
I figure that we'll have some kind of a rubber thumb that is maybe hollow and attached to a turkey baster, and you're pumping away on the turkey baster to make it, pulse.
Because it's hardly looking finger-licking good, Adam and Jamie are going to start by hacking into something a little more straightforward.
Trick is, it's going to ask you to put your thumb on and then take it off probably 8 times.
This computer supposedly uses a much more low-tech thumb scanner. So with Jamie's digit entered as the master print,
Finger enrollment complete.
they're going to practice on this. And the first step is to see if it's even possible to lift someone's fingerprint in the first place.
Oh, that looks beautiful.
They try the classic dusting technique,
That doesn't really look quite photographable, though, does it?
but it only roughly reveals the print. So for a clearer view, Jamie sniffs out another forensic favorite.
Well, I'm going to put a thumbprint right here, which I've done. I'm going to put it in this vacuum chamber. I'm going to put a little aluminum foil packet of super glue in there, turn on the vacuum, and hopefully we'll get fumes that will make this visible.
The idea is that inside the vacuum, the superglue fumes will settle and stick to the grease on the fingerprint and leave the clean glass untouched.
It's right there. I'm not sure that I see it any better than I did before.
They then add the powder to the glued print. But will it stick?
Oh, look at that. That's really clear.
Much clearer than we were getting without the super glue.
Yeah.
With the print done and dusted, Adam scans it and then prints it out. And everything's ready for the most basic of tests.
Scanning. Please wait.
Hey, Adam.
Yeah.
I'm not able to get a clear enough print. Like it's looking too muddy on the print.
Their paper print is clear as mud. To beat even the low-tech computer, they'll need to improve their handiwork.
Access denied.
While Adam and Jamie point the finger, the others are handling a different spectrum entirely. They're hot to trot with thermal motion, an alarm that's triggered by temperature.
All people emit infrared energy in the form of heat. So what this does is it takes a room, it gets a snapshot of what the room is, and if it sees some large chunk of its picture having more infrared energy, it'll trip the alarm.
Watch what happens with Tori. As soon as he enters the room, his body heat is picked up by the sensor, and the alarm starts to sizzle. This one's going to be tough to beat, but the team does have a secret weapon, a thermal camera.
You ready to go? Get my thermal signature?
Yep. So we're going to do the baseline first, and it'll be front, side, and then back.
All right.
The thermal camera also recognizes different temperatures, and it shows exactly why Tori triggered the sensor.
Okay, turn to the side.
The skin on his hands and face are aglow at 98 degrees. But even his clothes are much hotter than the background blue 63.
Now back. So right now I'm seeing a lot of radiation from his neck and a little bit on his shoulders.
To stand a chance of beating the alarm, they need to get Redneck Tori's output to match that of the blue room temperature, making him thermically invisible.
That's cool.
And first up, they're going to chill Tori with a CO2 fire extinguisher. Carrie's not warming to this idea.
I foresee two problems just to start with using the CO2 extinguisher to mask Tori's thermal signature. First of all is getting a consistent temperature over his entire body is going to be extremely difficult, being that it's just sort of a blast that comes at him. The second problem I see is the fact that he's going to heat it right back up, and he could be in the middle of the room when that happens.
And the third is that it's dangerous.
Do not spray your friends with CO2 fire extinguisher. It's not a good idea.
Leave it to the experts.
Okay, ready?
So possible frostbite. Let's do it.
Hit him.
Carrie gives Tori the cold shoulder as she lets fly with the cooling CO2. And almost immediately, his heat output plummets.
Great, go for it. Okay, alarm is armed.
With all the hot reds and yellows gone, will Tori still register on the thermal detector?
That didn't work out too well.
They reset and spray again. But this time, what's wrong is clear as ice. The cooling effect of the CO2 just wears off too fast. It's only on for a few seconds before enough body heat reappears to set off the alarm once more. So with this method busted, they need a new plan to come in from the cold.
look at this.
It's CSI San Francisco as the Mythbusters try to pick a fingerprint lock.
Oh man, this is like the coolest myth ever.
They've practiced with paper, but got nowhere.
Access denied.
It seems the computer can't read the flat surface. So now, with Jamie's print printed out on acetate, the Mythbusters are going 3D.
All right, this is a process where we're going to etch these fingerprints onto a copper-coated circuit board. And it involves making a clear acetate of the fingerprint, laying it over a circuit board that is coated with a photoreactive chemical. I will expose it to a light. And when I remove the acetate, I will wash away everything that hasn't been exposed. See the art?
The exposure and washing treatment leaves the copper with an exact copy of what was on the acetate.
So, oh, that looks really good.
Then it's immersed in acid, which dissolves the copper, but leaves the black print, thereby creating a slightly raised 3D etch.
Why don't you rub your finger around in a safe place and see if you can feel an edge?
Oh, yeah, I can. Why don't you go try and make a
casting.
casting of that, and we'll try it out on our thing.
You got it.
I hope this works.
The last step is to take a casting of the etch with ballistics gel, which has similar properties to human skin.
Now we're talking.
And with the gel dished up, they're all set to try Jamie's print on the computer scanner.
Let's go see whether it works.
Access denied. Access denied.
The problem is that the ridges aren't deep enough on this. I'm getting a pattern, but it's just not there. When you put your own thumb on it, you see a bunch of distinct lines. With this thing, we're seeing kind of a blob.
The etch simply hasn't created a clear enough print to con the computer, let alone Grant's superlock.
That's not working, so I guess plan B would be to...
While Jamie tries to figure out plan B, Carrie's pulling off the other part of this impossible mission, getting hold of Grant's thumbprint.
Grant doesn't think we can covertly get a hold of his fingerprint. He gets really suspicious every time Jamie or Adam comes over here. So I'm going to have him copy a stack of CDs, and hopefully that way we can get a hold of his fingerprint. He's going to come through the store any minute. It's freaking me out.
Carrie's turned double agent to try to snare Grant's thumb, and a CD case may be the perfect foil. And bingo, he takes the bait.
Remember how you said we couldn't covertly get your fingerprint?
Easy as pie, but Grant's not amused.
Yes, I told the producer yesterday that it would be almost impossible to covertly get my fingerprint. Apparently, I was wrong.
Weren't expecting a double agent, were you?
Yeah, from our own team.
With the master print under wraps, Jamie successfully dusts it off,
Look at that.
scans it in, and when he prints it onto acetate, he has one of those Heinemann moments of genius.
As you can see here, the prints that we were getting are all kind of jaggy looking. It's not real clean lines. So I realized that I can go back in this scale with a marker and clean up these jaggies, and then we can shrink it back down, and we'll retry our etch and see if that works.
It's a fine line, but with both Jamie and Grant's prints cleaned up, first impressions are that this might just work.
Dude, I think that's perfect.
With their hopes raised, it's back to the etch. But in case you're thinking of trying this at home, maybe we've edited out one crucial step. So, sorry, but you can't.
Jamie?
Yeah.
These look beautiful.
Good.
I think they're really, really good.
Jamie makes new gel prints, and then it's all ready to test.
You got something?
Yeah.
Oh, that is good looking.
That's as good as we're gonna get. So.
That's as good as we're gonna get. Let's try it.
Okay.
This time, the computer doesn't reject it straight away. It reads it some more, and then...
Access granted.
Yay! We got it.
Yes?
Yes.
Dude! You just made my day.
With access granted on the computer, it's time to access Grant's Superlock. But that's taking things to a whole new level.
Welcome, Jamie.
Hey!
So it works.
Fantastic. That is awesome.
Back with the temperature-sensitive sensor, chilling Tori with a CO2 fire extinguisher didn't make him thermically disappear. So now, the team is diving headlong into a new tactic that might.
Well, up next is a neoprene suit, and hopefully that will mask his thermal signature.
Viewers of a nervous disposition may want to look away now.
I was not meant to see this.
I'm not even looking.
The neoprene suit aims to tackle this myth in a different way.
Wherever the neoprene crosses you, it's like it disappears.
Like a ninja.
Rather than alter Tori's temperature, the insulating wetsuit should prevent his body heat from escaping, meaning he won't register on this thermal camera or the sensor in the room.
Whoa, that works great. Dude, you do look like a ninja.
I think this is gonna be my new outfit on MythBusters.
Once Tori's covered up all the nooks and crannies, will the wetsuit sink or swim?
All right, here I go.
With the alarm ringing, Tori heads back to the test zone for a postmortem.
When you first started, this suit was totally blue and it blended into the background perfectly. But now, I can totally see the outline of it.
And the longer I stay in the suit, the more of the heat from my body is going to transfer to the suit.
So with the wetsuit sunk, what's next for this hothead? Well, in the M5's flower beds, Carrie and shop assistant Terry are trying to dig up the third possible solution.
Well, in choosing methods to fool the thermal motion sensor, we cannot ignore some of the classics, such as one utilized by our great Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger in the first Predator movies, where he slathered himself in mud in order to fool the thermal sensors of the Predator.
Of course, in Predator, Mr. Schwarzenegger used pristine swamp mud, not the soiled soil of M5. Luckily for Tori, Carrie and Terry are terminating any detritus nasties.
I'm really looking forward to this, not just because, we get to prove the Predator myth, but because we get to cover Tori head to toe in mud.
Tori's rubbered up to give him some protection against the cold clay.
All right, where did we get this mud? That's what I want to know.
It is working. That's working really well.
It's working?
First impressions are encouraging. The mud body mask is masking Tori's thermal signature. He's slowly blending in with the background.
You try not to shove it in my ear canal?
I feel like you should scoop it up and dump it on his head.
That sounds like a great idea, Grant.
They keep plastering him until he's got more dirt than a mud wrestler in a monsoon.
I'm going in.
Ready.
Like that?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's looking like the Predator myth is terminated. The mud, like the neoprene, has warmed up too fast, meaning that Tori's heat seeped through and soiled the sensor. And Tori spotted another problem.
If I was trying to break into a building covered in mud, I think it'd be probably pretty easy for the police to find me because they would just follow my tracks.
For the mud, it's hasta la vista, baby. Back with the Finger Fiddlers, Adam and Jamie have just tasted success. Using a ballistics gel fingerprint, they beat the computer scanner.
Welcome, Jamie.
Hey!
So it works.
So next up, it's Grant's fingerprint lock that has his thumb as the master. To rise to the challenge, Adam's fetched the etch of Grant's covertly obtained print. He's used this to make a latex copy that he's planted straight onto his warm, sweaty, pulsing thumb.
Okay, so you guys ready?
Yeah, we've been working on this for days, and I think we have a couple things that might work.
Cool. Okay, well, I'll be here.
All right.
monitoring.
All right.
You first.
Okay. Here's my patented Imahara thumb.
But it's a bad start. Adam resets and tries again, but nothing. With this technique dribbling towards busted, Adam tries licking the latex. And he's in. He has set off the next alarm, but the finger's been foiled.
I don't care about the alarm. It works, man.
No way.
That is latex glued to my thumb.
But they're not stopping there.
Well, that's one down. Shall we try all of our other techniques?
Next up, it's Jamie, who's made a regular ballistics gel print of Grant's thumb. And guess what?
Yay! Hey! Nicely done! That's 2 for 2!
No way.
At this point, the one we bought for the computer is a lot harder to break than this one.
Yeah.
Well, I say we move on to the copy paper now.
With everything they do working, the team goes for broke by trying the photocopy of Grant's print. But surely something this simple can't foil the finger.
This is dumb! What is this? Well, there's your problem.
So the myth that fingerprint locks can't be foiled is busted. Tori got down and dirty to beat a thermal motion alarm.
Oh, yeah. It's totally worth it.
But got soiled.
Way to take one for the team, dude.
It was worth it, right? For science?
Yeah, it was worth it. Definitely, it was worth it. It was definitely worth it. Just checking.
With a 0 success rate so far, Carrie's had a brainwave.
You can pump heat into a room and bring the temperature of the room up to skin temperature, and then the person walking through the room will be completely undetected by the thermal motion sensor.
Up to now, they've needed to mask the body's thermal signature because humans are hotter than room temperature.
Okay, opening the gas.
But by increasing that room temperature through the ceiling vent to 98 degrees, Grant should be able to drop right in. But there's a problem.
Okay. Well, what's happening inside of the room, and you can see this on the infrared camera, is a huge hot stream just flowing right past it, dumping into the room and setting off the sensor.
So for take 2, they bring the heater down to ground level and have it set to low. But they're not the only changes.
As a definitive test of this method, there's really only one way to do it, and that is to enter the room commando style. And by commando style, I mean naked. Or close to it.
That's right, ladies. It's your lucky day as Grant strips for science. He reckons that while the room will get to human body temperature, his clothing won't. The only way for him to emit exactly 98 degrees, sadly, is to strip to his boxers.
All right, Grant. We're at 96 degrees.
Okay, I go.
Grant crawls into position, waits for those extra 2 degrees, and then
Yeah, you look good.
sets off the alarm. It seems that this sensor is just too sensitive. Even a near-naked Grant can't sneak past.
Put your clothes back on.
All right, show's over.
Actually, not quite, because this team ain't gonna give up without a fight.
How does that look?
Has he disappeared?
That's great.
They're back to trying to mask Tori's heat output, and first impressions are that the fire suit is working well, at least until Tori butts up against a problem.
Ooh, look, he's got a hot spot on his backside.
Dude, did you say my butt was hot?
Just turn to the back.
Unfortunately, there's a tear in the rear end of the suit, and the heat seeping out may be enough to ruin its chance of success.
Okay, bell's arm, ready to go.
Sure enough, the red rear end triggered the alarm. So for take 2, Tori turns the other cheek and goes in backwards. And he's cracked it.
You're in!
Even some dodgy disco moves don't set off the alarm, at least until his headgear falls off.
Take the hat off.
That's cool.
Oh my God!
That is
Wow!
cool.
I'm actually surprised how well the fire suit worked. I mean, the first run we saw that he set it off, but that was because he had the leak in his backside. Second time, when he went through backwards, no problem at all. Didn't set it off. In fact, he can do jumping jacks in front of the sensor, and it doesn't go off. But the second he pops his head off, it goes off.
But because the fire suit is a bit cumbersome, they do want to try one last thing, something that's crystal clear.
Well, next up is the pane of glass, and the science behind it is that visible light can pass easily through, but infrared is mostly blocked. And since this sensor is looking at infrared energy, it has a very good chance of masking Tori's body heat signature.
In theory, the thick glass should finally crack this alarm.
That's cool.
Blocking
That
out
is
the heat.
totally blocking your infrared. Hold it in front of your face. Yeah.
Wow.
Walk towards the camera with it.
The glass works like a charm. Everything it covers is thermically invisible.
Well, the big pane of glass worked great, but the only problem is carrying a big pane of glass through a duct or wherever you're trying to break in probably wouldn't be very practical. So what I propose is we try a different approach.
Because walking up to the alarm with glass in hand isn't really realistic, Grant's building a special glass-holding clamp.
All right, we're gonna time this one, and I'm starting it now.
He'll use the clamp to drop a frame of glass over the sensor through the ceiling vent, but it ain't that clear-cut.
It looks like they're having trouble getting the angle on the sensor, getting the arm down into position to actually put the frame on the sensor.
With Grant unable to contort to the angle of the dangle, Carrie tries her luck instead.
That's looking good. Nice work. Carrie was able to hook the frame over the sensor, and they are now entering the room. And that was under 2 minutes.
At last, they're in true heist style. So the myth that thermal motion alarms are unbeatable is busted. In Crimes and Myth-Demeanors, Adam and Jamie are about to blow a safe out of the water.
Water's safe. What's this about?
We get to blow up a safe. But this is not any old safe. This is actually a safe with one of the most advanced anti-theft devices ever put into a safe. It's called a glass relocker. And what it is, this is a pane of breakable glass within the safe itself that, if broken, activates locks that make the door impenetrable. Check this out.
A glass relocker is the safecracker's nemesis. Inside the safe door sits a fragile sheet of glass that's rigged up to a series of bolts and locks. If a safecracker causes this glass to break or even just vibrate, then the bolts are triggered and the safe locks up for good. But apparently, there is a way around it. And it's a technique illustrated perfectly in the movie The Score. This blacked-out burglar first carefully melts a hole in the top where there isn't any glass. Then he fills the whole thing to the brim with water before dropping in a depth charge. The water helps maximize the shockwave, so the door, complete with relocker, blows clean off. But would this water bomb really work?
So we're not just going to blow up this safe. This is all about technique.
Absolutely. I want to follow precisely the technique outlined in the film to see if using water is just a movie myth or if they've actually based their plot in science fact.
Well, to kick off this myth, Grant shoots on the internet to try to score the cinematic safe.
Well, we've been looking for a safe just like the one that they used in the movie. The one that we found is very similar, but much larger. It's 6 feet tall, the walls are 8 inches thick, and it weighs 3,000 pounds. But the most important thing is that it has a glass relocker, which is what they used in the movie, and the thing that makes it very hard to crack.
With the safe in safe hands, Adam's in charge of the charge.
I'm reviewing the footage from this heist movie we've got as reference for our safe cracking exercise. And I'm trying to estimate exactly how much nitroglycerin they're using to blow open this safe once they filled it with water. So I'm going to take some measurements off the screen to try and estimate the exact size and volume of this explosive so we can calculate the right amount of explosive for our own experiment.
It may look like guesswork, but Adam's adamant this is accurate.
Based on my calculations here, I come up with a rough area of about 8.5 cubic inches, which is about 4.73 liquid ounces, or 140 milliliters, or 9.5 tablespoons. Whatever our pyro ends up needing for this information, I think I've got the conversion for him.
In that case, let's get cooking. It's a simple recipe. Take one safe with glass relocker, add some water and explosives, and mix in a bunker.
MythBusters production and research team has found us another phenomenal location to do things you're generally not allowed to do. It is a South San Francisco water quality control plant. In other words, it's a sewage plant. And on any other day, this trough I'm standing in would be filled with poo. But today, we get to blow a safe up in it.
And to stop this myth going down the toilet, they're being helped by explosives expert and retired FBI agent Frank Doyle. Frank's a true honorary Mythbuster. Be it turning trousers torpedo, a spot of painting and detonating, or even something a little more concrete. Frank's always the man with the bang. But before he lights the fuse on this myth, the boys want to check out the glass relocker. Remember, it's this sheet of glass that, if smashed, causes the safe to shut up for good.
That's it?
That's all there is.
That's the glass relocker? Wow, I thought it was like a whole thing. You couldn't drill anywhere in here.
Adam, like the graphics guy, assumed that the glass would cover the hole of the door. Instead, it's much smaller. But size isn't everything. Despite its appearance, this glass is incredibly sensitive to even the slightest vibration. So beating it will be tough.
This is the prize. Also, we've got some money.
With the booty added, the boys are ready to try to bypass this super seal like the madman in the movie. And there are 5 key steps.
This technique requires step 1, we got to bore a hole in the top of the safe with a thermal lance. Step 2 is fill the safe with water. Step 3 is lower explosives into the safe. Step 4 is blow the door off the safe. Step 5 is get the money and run.
Adam and Jamie are going to tackle this myth step by step to see whether this movie is spot on accurate or did they score an own goal. And first up is the thermal entry.
It's not exactly what the well-dressed bank robber is wearing these days.
It sure isn't what the movie guy used, but better to be safe than sorry.
Okay. I think I'm ready to go for it.
Just like in the film, Adam's using a thermal lance to cut through the safe. The lance burns iron rods in an oxygen-rich environment to create very high temperatures for cutting.
I need another rod.
And the lancing is already making the movie myth go up in smoke. After all, it took that burglar less than 30 seconds to get through the steel. But all up, it's taken Adam 20 times longer.
It opens!
And that's not the only problem.
I sure did run into some problems on step 1, which was burning the hole with a thermic lance. Number 1, I set fire to my shoes. Number 2, I think I used up maybe a dozen or more rods. And then those rods set fire to everything in the safe and covered everything with this like blackened char. I didn't see that in the movie.
Adam's scepter is looking more charred than a sausage sizzle in hell. And this movie myth ain't looking much better. Just when the team thought it was safe to raise the maze to the ground, there's one more security device to test.
What I'm doing right now is I'm installing the sonic motion detector. This is going to be a tough one to beat.
An ultrasonic motion detector? Sounds alarming, but how does this one work?
An ultrasonic motion sensor sets out a very high-frequency sound wave, which bounces off all the walls in a room and comes back to a receiver in the sensor to create a pattern. Now, this pattern, it will know as sort of the status quo of the room, and anything that interrupts that will set off the sensor and alarms will go off.
So let's get this straight. The detector times how long it takes for a high-frequency sound wave to travel across the room and back. If anything gets in the way of the sound wave, it's reflected back to the sensor faster, and the alarm gets triggered. And the first step in trying to silence the sonar is to get some fabric that can soak up the sound.
Well, if you need a sound-absorbing material, I really couldn't think of anything better than maybe a shaggy shag pile carpet. So definitely gonna hit up this retro store and see if they have anything like that.
Carrie's hoping that a thick rug will absorb the sonar's sound waves and so prevent them from being reflected back. She reckons this might trick the alarm into thinking everything's normal.
I don't know if color's gonna have anything to do with it, but this is the thickest one I have.
The yellow?
Yeah, definitely.
Wrap myself up in this, I'm gonna look like a Muppet.
Or Big Bird.
Carrie may be about to turn chicken, but it's this guy who gets egg on his face.
Whoa! Oh, okay. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Back at the shop, Carrie's going to revamp her rug into a sonic stealth suit. But not everyone's thrilled at the thought.
I'm making my sound-absorbing suit out of this rug, which Lulu here has made into her bed and she's not so happy about.
With Lulu out of the way, it's a dog's life for Carrie as she carves up her carpet. But after just a few seconds of time-lapse, her stealth suit is ready to strut.
Could you imagine breaking into a building dressed like this?
Not really.
She may look like a big bird, but will it cause the alarm to go, "Open sesame"?
The alarm is active.
Save yourself the embarrassment. Don't try what you're about to see at home.
It's an alarmingly good start, but then... this chicken's a jailbird.
Are you surprised?
It looked like you were gonna make it.
Carrie tries again, and in case her eye holes are triggering the alarm, for this chicken run, she walks backwards.
We're being robbed by a giant chicken.
She almost makes it, but the alarm is going off as reliably as a morning rooster.
She could make it 3/4 of the way down the corridor and was making the final turn before the alarm went off. So clearly, it is having some effect, and it's helping her beat the alarm in some way, but not entirely foolproof.
To fool this alarm, Carrie's going to up the ante.
An audio technician has recommended fiberglass matting to be the best possible material we could use to absorb the sound waves that are being given off by our ultrasonic motion sensor. Supposedly, I can make a little suit out of this stuff, walk around, and not be detected.
Does this go over your head?
When Carrie says little suit, what she actually means is colossal quilt.
It looked like a piece of cinnamon toast or something.
Looking more like an extra from Star Wars, will the fiberglass suit do any better?
I'm ready when you are.
Ready!
Like the big bird, this suit also fails to fly.
I think this one's totally busted, man. I can't even make it in the door.
With the suit down for the count, it's time for a new tactic. But this one really seems like a load of old sheet.
Carrie, the system is armed and all cameras are rolling.
No fancy material, just a regular bed sheet held above her head.
Hey, it's working. What the heck? What?
What?
No way.
There's no way that could possibly work.
Oh, yes, there is.
Holy sheet, it works.
Let's do that again. There's no way.
That was like so goofy looking, I can't believe it worked.
Let me do it again.
Try it again.
Bed sheet entering.
Remarkably, this simple sheet is absorbing the sound waves, and that's left the team gobsmacked.
Drop the sheet.
No freaking way. You can't be serious.
I am serious.
I mean, it's just stupid. You know when you get that list of myths and you're like, come on. This was on the list of, all right, let's just get it over with and fail it so that we can move on to something that actually might work.
Holding up the bed sheet fooled the sensor, which is kind of mind-blowing.
But before putting this alarm to bed, there's one final technique to try, and that's slowing everything right down.
She's going in.
For the last dance, Carrie is simply trying to waltz through the room as slowly as possible.
All right, so she is definitely in the path of the motion sensor.
To stop the alarm going off all the time, it has a threshold level of movement needed to trigger it. By moving snail pace slow, it may be possible to sneak under this threshold and go undetected.
She's looking good.
Yeah, she is looking good.
Of course, it's hardly compatible with a fast-paced heist, but after 20 minutes of inching, she's through.
You're almost there, Carrie. Just a little more.
All right, you're clear. She made it.
You're clear.
Nice,
you
Carrie.
made it.
They finally silenced the sonar.
Okay, now jump in the hallway and set it off.
Nice! Good job!
I am totally and utterly shocked. I can't believe that I could walk slow enough to get past the motion sensor. I thought it was going to go off the second I walked in the room.
Adam and Jamie are attempting to copy this movie crime cliffhanger to see if they can blow a safe filled with water.
The reason that they use water is because the safe is equipped with what's called a glass relocker. It's a very ingenious anti-safe cracking device. If you try and drill it, there's a pane of glass there. And if that glass breaks, there are these locks that engage as soon as that glass breaks. Well, the only way in is to just blow that door right off.
That's the theory, but it's not going well. The first step involved lancing a hole in the top, and while it didn't trigger the relocker, when Adam inspected the loot, he got more than he bargained for.
Yeah, at this point in the myth, we haven't even come close to opening the door, and already the loot, including my prized scepter, is already mostly destroyed.
But as ever on MythBusters, it's onwards and upwards.
Well, next we got to close this thing up and fill the darn thing with water. You know, that's part of the process. We'll see whether the water stays in the safe.
It's step 2, the water filling.
Go for it.
But that has more problems than step 1.
What a shocker.
So far, this technique about, you know, thermal lenses and filling the safe with water and blowing it up is kind of problematic. We've set the money on fire. The safe doesn't hold water. You know, it's eventually I think we'll get there, but it's a little impractical.
With the safe about as watertight as a sieve, Adam and Jamie need to seal her up, something which the movie burglar wasn't obliged to do.
If the safe won't hold water, and we need it to hold water for our explosion, and we are safe crackers, then we don't have access to be able to open this door and pour silicone gasket around it. We've got to seal it up from the outside somehow. And the best thing I could think of, both Jamie and I thought about it, was butyl. Jamie used to use it to repair leaks in his boat from the outside underwater. This is awesome stuff, but we're hoping it'll work.
In terms of stickiness, the butyl is brutal. And after papering over the cracks, it's time for filling take 2.
Sounds like one of them relaxing clocks, you know? Like to help you sleep at night. It's like a babbling brook, really. Oh, my mind wanders. Yeah.
As Adam goes into mind meltdown, the safe keeps filling up, but the leaks are getting worse.
It's gonna blow. Oh man, there's no stopping that.
It's another fill failure.
As far as this goes for the technique, it's terrible. The technique's all about getting in and out super fast, not spending 3 hours drilling it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, you could spend 3 hours just sealing up this door.
It's bad news for the myth, but the only way to fill it to the brim is to seal the safe from the inside.
This is a fun job sometimes.
Of course, this is sailing further away from the movie.
Okay, you ready?
But the expanding foam should seal the deal.
Let's fill.
At last, she's retaining water. And while she fills, the team gets to the bottom of what the water actually does.
Well, what are the physics involved here? What does the water do with the explosive in the middle of it that makes it different?
The water does not compress when the explosive detonates, so you have some dynamic energy pushing evenly against all of the water surroundings, against all of the surfaces on the inside the safe.
So does it make the explosion more intense?
No, you don't change the energy, you just more or less concentrate the distribution of the energy.
So it just more efficiently transfers that shockwave from the explosive out to the outer walls of the
Yes,
safe? Oh, okay.
yes.
So in theory, the water is a good system to blow out a safe. But in case the shockwave is more like a tsunami, the blast shields are locked into place. And just in time, because back in the sewer bunker, the water closet is fit to burst, meaning it's time for the boom.
So let's mobilize, let's do it.
Based on Adam's earlier calculations, Frank's got hold of 8 ounces of TNT that's being fed into the charred hole at the top.
So the bomb techs are currently loading in the charge, and everybody else is clearing the area. The area is being buttoned down by the fire department and security around here, and we should be ready to go for a blow in a couple of minutes.
Remember, this is the result they're hoping for. The safe door neatly parts company. The glass relockers are beaten, and the booty is undamaged. With Frank's mini depth charge sitting pretty, it's time to go for broke and blow the final whistle on the score.
Going in 3, 2, 1.
I saw the whole thing move.
I think we're inside the safe.
You think we are? You know, I don't enjoy the explosions as much as I like the aftermath.
Adam may prefer the aftermath, but for me, it's always the boom. The TNT kicked to perfection as safe and door are no more.
Look at the door! Wow! That worked beautifully! Oh my God!
The door's a full 30 yards from the safe. But how's the booty?
There it is! Oh, it's mostly here. Look, I found the jewel.
Unfortunately, the scepter's been shredded, and the money hasn't fared much better. But as a way of beating the infamous glass relocker, it is mission accomplished.
Well, I mean, this definitely renders the relockers completely moot because they're in the door over there, and the safe and your loot is over here.
Yeah, they may well have relocked the door, but if the door isn't in the safe anymore, it doesn't do them very much good, right?
It doesn't matter how many locks the door has when its hinges have been blown to smithereens. Want to see it again?
Well, I'd say that technique worked. What do you want to call this one?
Well, you know, we found out that the movie technique might be based on a robbery that happened in the 50s on the East Coast of the United States, but we cannot independently confirm that.
Well, I'd call that plausible then.
I would absolutely call that plausible. It is rife with problems about sealing the safe, but once you do, it is a very effective way of separating the safe from the door.
All right.
On to the next one.